I'm extremely honored to welcome our first speaker, Rich Lyons, the Dean of the Haas School of Business.
Thank you, thank you. I want to start by thanking Lauren and Stephanie and their team. They've done an extraordinary service to all of us and also to Berkeley Haas. Thank you very much. So much of this business school is what the students bring to it naturally, but our students, there is a tradition of student activism, student connection, student leadership within the school, and they make these kinds of conferences possible. The Women in Leadership Conference plays a particularly important role at the school. It's our longest running conference at Berkeley Haas. I think its fundamental objective is to continue building an even stronger women in leadership community around Berkeley, around the community here, and of course the state and beyond. So that's an important role. You'll get a sense for that in the conference here today. She mentioned Janet Yellen, Laura Tyson. Here's something you wouldn't know necessarily unless you're a finance wonk, but not only is the most powerful person in finance from Berkeley Haas, that is, of course, Janet Yellen. The most coveted faculty member in the field of finance, academically, is also a woman, one of our faculty members, Ulrika Malmendier. She broke remarkably creative new ground in the field of behavioral corporate finance. So behavioral finance, if you know, is a relatively new subfield of finance, where you bring the tools of psychology in, so it's not straight economics based. And then she got into behavioral corporate. Why do CEOs seem to buy companies when it doesn't look like it's value creating? I mean, what's going on out there? And that, among many other questions. She won an award about 6 months ago called the Fisher Black Award. No reason why you would know what that award is. It's given every 2 years. It's not given every year. It's given to the faculty member, the academic, who's had the greatest impact on the field of finance anywhere, and is also under the age of 40. It is a very good forecaster of future Nobel Prizes. This is a profoundly creative individual and thinker. My favorite day on this story was about 2 weeks ago, because Ulrika called me up and said, I'm not going to Harvard. As soon as she won the award, Harvard gave her an enormous tenured offer, and we did have to respond, and we did, and she is staying, and we are very happy about that. Design, let me say a few things about design thinking. I was speaking to Paul Otellini, one of our alums, as you know, longtime CEO of Intel, just recently rotated out of that role. And we were talking about how do you make larger organizations more agile, more adaptive, more innovative, whatever term you want to use. And he said, look, Rich, that's an old question, and it's still the big question. It's still the thing we're all working on. He said, I still haven't seen anything that just completely changes the game. And one way that we do that here at the Haas School, because that is the big brass ring. When organizations are evolving quicker, they're going to win more. They're going to do more for us in society. And we need these organizations to do more and better. And so when I think about sort of what are the top 5, if you said, Rich, the next 2 days, you and your colleagues here at Berkeley Haas have to do a 2-day executive leadership training course on how to make large organizations more agile, innovative, adaptive. And I would say, well, right now, the state of the art is to pull out 4 or 5 toolkits, complementary toolkits, and show people what's inside those toolkits. And design thinking, not just thinking, but design action, design methods, is one of those toolkits for sure. And that's part of why we shot it through our MBA curriculum so much. We use it here to think about our own issues. How do we think about, for example, bringing more women into leadership? As we thought about our own initiatives on that front here at the business school, we used a lot of design techniques. What are some of the other toolkits? I won't walk you through all of them, but design thinking is going to be one of them. One of our faculty here at Berkeley Haas, a guy named Hank Chesbrough, pioneered an area called open innovation. Where are the ideas? It's not just technology or science innovation. Sort of, where are they not invented here? How do you sort of import some of the best ideas and act on them? And when ideas happen inside your organization and you aren't in a position to monetize or capitalize on them, how do you get them out into the marketplace and still get paid for them, et cetera? Open innovation is one of these 4 or 5 top toolkits. Another one, for those of you that do entrepreneurship, it's called the so-called lean startup approach. Steve Blank, customer discovery, that whole toolkit. You may not have heard very much about it, but it's a very different way of thinking about how not just startups, but how large organizations can become more entrepreneurial. So that's a third toolkit: design thinking, open innovation, this lean startup toolkit around customer discovery. A fourth one is culture-based approaches. How do you get people to be less risk-averse, right? When we get risk-averse in our organizations, and there are reasons for individuals to be risk-averse, we often don't think big enough, and we're not taking the kinds of risks that, in fact, would be beneficial. Okay, so design thinking. Quick story. Our students have been doing terrifically in competitions against other schools. That's kind of where the rubber meets the road, okay? Berkeley, Haas is in a competition in healthcare or whatever it is. There are many of them. Student comes back, tells me, here's what it looked like. So they launched this competition. I don't remember which one it was. And so they put the different teams of the schools in these different rooms, and there were these glass windows so you could kind of see where the other teams were as you walked down the hallway. And he said, I walked by, I won't mention other school names, but I walked by, school X and school Y, and they were all at their computers, 6 or 7 people around a room and at their computers and talking to each other. As I went to the restroom, and then I came back to the Haas room, and what we had were Post-it notes all over the place and these big diagrams, and they were doing their work differently. They were a team, these other schools had teams, but it looked totally different, the way they were approaching the problem, the challenge, the opportunity. So if this is really just design thinking, and I think if you walk out of here hopefully enjoying the day, but it doesn't change what you do over the next couple of months, that would be a shame. This is a toolkit. We want you to use it, right? So think about how you might use it, you might introduce it. Part of why our MBAs and undergrads are flying off the shelves in the job market is because they're walking into teams, and firms are seeing this in internships and other things, and they're introducing new methods. Things are happening differently on these teams. So design thinking is part of that. And we want you to have as much of that as you possibly can here today. It really does change the way we do the work. We usually think about it in terms of problem framing, or if you think about it more in terms of opportunity recognition, not just problems, right? But how do you frame opportunities? Okay, that's what you're going to be doing today, and I think you're going to find it really stimulating.